Chapter 40 ended with Al mumbling to himself while following Subaru and Garfiel. Chapter 41 opens with Anastasia shocked at the trio's early arrival. Subaru explains to Anastasia that they're only stopping by for a little bit before they go back on the road. Subaru continues by updating Anastasia that Sirius's influence has reached the shelters and how the first shelter they found was a horrible sight. Anastasia asks Subaru if he has a plan. Subaru nodded but quickly changed the question. Anastasia sighs and mentions that Julius has been acting strange, and it probably has something to do with the fact that they don't know where Joshua is. Subaru had noticed it as well. It seemed like Julius was on edge and was lacking his usual calm and confident attitude. Subaru then asks Anastasia if the magical radio upstairs was in working condition. Anastasia raised her eyebrows and told Subaru that it was in fact working, but asked him what he planned on doing with it. Subaru circled back to Sirius's power and how easy it is for her influence to spread. Do you mean to say you've thought of a way to counter it? It's only a maybe this could work kind of thing. I do think it's worth trying. It's just once we start doing it, everything will be heard by the witch cult, word for word. So there's the possibility that we could run into other dangers if we provoke those guys. But there's a good chance that we can reduce the existing threat. Yeah, that's right. Now that we've retaken the city hall, and with Sirius's authority being the only thing affecting the shelters, even though it's hard to balance the risks, I still think. Anastasia cuts Subaru off and tells him that she knows what he's planning now. Subaru was surprised. He asks Anastasia if she's against his idea then. Anastasia smiles and says that logically speaking, his plan would be the best course of action. Subaru went quiet, not expecting Anastasia to agree to his plan. Garfiel broke the silence and asked the two what they were talking about. Anastasia sighed and mentioned that even Ricardo would have been able to figure it out. Garfiel wasn't too pleased at Anastasia's remark, but was stopped by Al, who patted his shoulder from behind. Basically, what bro's thinking is this. Rather than trying to stop the authority of Wrath from spreading throughout the city, it would be quicker and easier to try to turn it into our advantage instead. Turn it like what? Sirius's ability causes the sharing of emotions. When people are anxious and afraid, that emotion swells as more people bunch together, until eventually it gets set off by something small and explodes. So, if you can replace fear and anxiety with another emotion, paint it over with something like hope, then that'll be what's shared instead. Garfiel, now understanding the plan, smiles and tells Subaru to hurry and get the radio. But he was cut off by Anastasia, which didn't please Garfiel. Garfiel accuses Anastasia of backing out at the last second. Anastasia quickly corrects Garfiel and mentions they need to go over the pros and cons first. The pro is the goal of the strategy itself, eliminating anxiety and despair from the citizens so we don't have that constant threat at our backs. The con is that whatever we broadcast into the city would naturally also get into the ears of the witch cult. We have absolutely no idea how they'll react. While I have no objections about the broadcast itself, the problem is, what will it contain and who will be saying it? Subaru was confused and mentioned that the best person for the job was Anastasia herself. Anastasia shook her head at Subaru's suggestion and explained that while being a royal selection candidate helps to some degree, what they need the most is someone who is famous for fighting the witch cult. Subaru suggested Krush due to her military experience. Anastasia agreed that she would have been perfect if it were the former Krush and if she wasn't fighting for her life at the moment. Subaru was shocked. He didn't expect Krush's state to have been that bad. Subaru tried suggesting Julius next, but he was quickly shot down, as Julius's name probably doesn't mean that much to the city. Well, if anyone is going to do the broadcast, shouldn't it be you, bro? Subaru was thrown off guard, but his surprise quickly turned into anger as he went off on Al for making bad jokes at such a crucial moment. Al started defending himself and explained that he wasn't joking at all. He then tells Subaru to look around. Subaru looked at Anastasia and Garfiel, expecting them to be surprised or annoyed, but rather they were smiling at Subaru, as if they agreed with Al. Well, like I said on the street, we all got this far because of you, bro. Garfiel agrees with me, the way that he keeps calling you captain and all. How are those two things connected? Same thing. You must have done something right to make Garfiel call you that. That just shows how much he trusts you, right? You seem to think that what you did wasn't that big of a deal for some reason, but aside from you, who else in this city or this world can say that they've defeated Sloth of the witch cult? Anastasia and Garfiel nodded in agreement with Al. Subaru let out a long, deep sigh. They all thought way too highly of him. He felt it from Wilhelm, Julius, and Reinhardt as well. Subaru thought of Rem and how he promised her that he would take the hero's road. If you do this, bro, from now on it'll be heroic reveries that you'll be carrying on your back. You can never lose, you must only win. You'll take up their hopes, carry their expectations, and fight to show them the future. If you make this choice here, that's what you'll have to do. I can never lose. Sounds just like how it's always been, doesn't it? The weight of this is different. If Bro loses here, the defeat won't just end with Bro. Subaru didn't understand what Al was saying and let out another sigh. Anastasia, I'll do it. If my voice can make a difference, then leave it to me. You're sure? Once you take on people's hopes, it'll be no different from what I always do. Hero. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? Though honestly, it's kind of embarrassing to be calling myself that. If it's just a matter of being a hero, I've already made my decision a year ago. Otherwise, I'll bring shame to the girl watching over me, and the girl whose back I'm watching. Is that so? Well, alright. Boys always like to show off after all. Subaru thanked Garfiel and Al for helping him make up his mind. Subaru then followed Anastasia, making their way to the radio. Subaru then wondered to himself what he should say. Surprisingly, he didn't feel anxious. It might have been because he knew that it was just like usual and he had no choice but to show off again. And that sums up chapter 41 of Arc 5. Let me know what you thought of the chapter in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.